We are today going to meet Emily Caniglia, who is a Rowan grad. Let's welcome Emily.
So day to day, I work on our weekly newsletter, and that goes out to former players, former cheerleaders, former front office executives. If you worked in the NFL, and you're probably getting this newsletter. Also, our members, our current members, I do that. I work on all our social media with Rob. He helps out a lot. We have a lot of grant programs, so we post for those on a daily basis. Meetings with, we're a pretty small organization, so meetings with the team weekly, meeting with our former players. So I'm also working with membership engagement. So our members, our former players, a lot of them are older and maybe didn't have the biggest career. They're not the Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts of the world. So we offer a lot of benefits to them if they're non-vested. And they come to us, they ask us questions. I talk to them on a daily basis. Sometimes they just want to call and talk.
So my son interned for NFL alumni. My son actually now works in the NFL, works for the Miami Dolphins. Don't hold that against them.
Yeah.
It's a good organization, front office, so they're having their troubles. But he said, one day he came home and he said, man, that was so cool. I talked to Leonard Marshall. He was a two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants. And he goes, that was really cool. I just talked to Leonard Marshall. So it is a small organization, yet you have chapters in every city, right? All 32?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what do those chapters do, and how do you work the national office with the local chapters?
So our local chapters, they obviously they're in like the team city. Not all of them are in team cities, but we do have over 35 chapters. Texas being the biggest. A lot of former players live there, and they do a lot of events, like charity events. So one thing people don't understand is NFL Alumni is a nonprofit organization. So our mission is caring for our own, caring for our community, caring for kids. So a lot of these chapter events, they'll have charity events. So our Dallas chapter just had a bowling event, and they have sponsors come in and you get to bowl with a former player. Now these chapters have the local relationships with former players. So they'll get, the bigger names to come in locally, and people pay, or corporations pay, $10,000 sponsorship, and they get to bowl with, Brian Dawkins. So that's how we work with our chapters. We'll get the message out like, hey, Dallas is having an event. I'll send the email blast out. We'll post about it. And then we have our annual chapters meeting once a year, and all the chapters get together. And it's really nice to see everybody from all the chapters, because we talk to them on the phone on a daily basis, but it's nice to meet with them.
So NFL alumni, how many alumni are we actually talking about?
So we communicate weekly with about 10,000 alumni, but active dues paying members, we have about 3,500 to 4,000. So we are a dues membership base. So if you're a former player, it's $100 a year. If you're a former cheerleader, it's $50 a year. And if you're a fan, you can actually be a member of the NFL alumni, and that's $199, but you don't get all the benefits that a former player or cheerleader would.
What's the advantage of being a fan and being part of NFL alumni?
Well, you get invited to our exclusive events during Super Bowl. Sometimes you have to pay for them if you're not a former player, but you do get to be involved at a local chapter level as well. We host a lot of events like golf tournaments, so like we'll invite people to come play. You do have to pay, but you could just get to stay involved in like what's going on. You get our newsletter, which
and
is
you
great.
Interact with players.
You get to interact with players, which is huge. I mean, I'm sure everyone in this room would probably love to interact with former players.
So think about this. The Super Bowl, okay, we know the name Super Bowl. That is trademarked. No one can use the word Super Bowl except one organization in this world, NFL alumni. You're the only organization that on one occasion can say Super Bowl. And what do you do?
We can say Super Bowl?
I know. When do you do it? What do you do? What event do you use the Super Bowl name? Your Super Bowl of golf.
A Super Bowl of golf, yes, that's right.
So you were just there.
Yes, so we just had our Super Bowl of golf tournament. And that is, so each chapter has a golf tournament at the local level. And if you win that tournament, you get sent all expenses paid to the Super Bowl of golf. and that happens every year. It's not the same location. This year was in Atlanta, Georgia, which was fun. Well, it was in Brazelton, which is a little outside of Atlanta. But all the chapters the winning team gets to come in and compete against all the other chapter teams and play in the Super Bowl of Golf. And that has been around since probably a little after NFL Alumni's inception. We were founded in the 60s, and I think around the 80s is when we started Super Bowl of Golf.
Think about that, Super Bowl of Golf. No one can use that title, Super
No one
Bowl,
can use it, no.
but NFL alumni.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, did you work that event?
Yeah.
Rob was the only one, right? That
Yeah,
won from
he
you.
was the one that-
So what was that event like, working the Super Bowl of golf?
It was amazing. It was a great experience. We were there for a week. I got to experience the annual meeting, Saturday on that. You just gotta soak it all in. When you're up there, you're sitting in these meetings with these professionals, these former athletes, so much knowledge. And then at the end of the week, you got to, work the golf tournament. Sterling Sharp was there. I mean, there's some big names, just be able to help them out. And they're coming to you with questions. Like they want to talk to you, and then it's just a really fun, great experience.
All right, last question before I let them ask questions.
Okay.
You were here, you were public relations.
Mhm.
What made you go down this path, or why PR? What was it that PR spoke to you saying, I want to do that?
Yeah, so when you're in college, especially like when I first started out, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I love to talk to people. I love to work with people. I'm a people person. I could be on the phone all day long, which is pretty much what I do now. I love to write. I love to edit. So my first thought wasn't even, like, I always wanted to work in sports, but I knew it was a competitive field. I didn't start in sports. And then I came to visit my friend, Mr. Hartman, and he had a connection with NFL alumni. Our old CEO, Beasley Reese, used to work with him, right?
Yep.
Was the CEO at the time. And I went to Neil, and I just, told him my likes and my interests, press releases, media, social media, and the internship at NFL Alumni kind of checked all those boxes. And then I went to intern there, and here I am.
Yeah, you had interned previously at a PR firm.
Yeah, so I started at a PR firm in Marlton, and that's honestly what led me to my internship at NFL Alumni. So it was not a sports agency. We did not have one sports client, but my HR department recognized the agency. And I think that's something really important to recognize. Like, your first job or internship doesn't have to be sports if your end goal is sports. People like to see experience. People like to see event experience, experience in different departments. You can write press releases. You can do newsletters. Like, you don't have to work in sports to end goal work in a role like mine. Like, I didn't. I worked in the PR agency, and then out of college, I actually worked for a pharma company first. So I don't think don't stress about, getting that sports internship right off the bat. It's great if you do, but as long as you're getting experience on your resume, you could do anything.
All right. Who would like to go with the first question right here? Go ahead.
All right, so you said how you have to send emails.
Mm-hmm.
What strategies do you use when you're engaging with former NFL players and maintaining strong relationships in the NFL alumni community?
How do you engage with NFL alumni? In case people in the back couldn't hear, the emails and the communication? How do you engage with those members?
Yeah, so it kind of depends what the content you're sending out, essentially. So if I'm trying to engage our expired members to rejoin the NFL alumni, I'm going to send out an email campaign in the beginning of football season. Hey, football season's approaching. Come join the locker room after football and engage with your former teammates. So get back involved in the NFL alumni so that you can come to events, you can be up to date with what everybody's doing. And so for that specific audience, that's what I would do. For our newsletter, we do alumni on the job. So come see what, everybody's doing post NFL career. Because not everybody makes millions and millions of dollars, working in the NFL. A lot of people go off and become finance people, or this week we just sent out someone opened a Pliables franchise. So, see what you're doing in, post NFL career. So.
Okay, very good. Good, Sean.
I have a YouTube channel. I was wondering if I could help out anyway.
Yeah, so NFL Alumni has a YouTube channel. We don't do a ton on it just because I feel like our YouTube channels for event based and NFL Alumni National doesn't do like a ton of events, but our YouTube is something we're always looking to improve. So
That's something we've talked about, having students helping out and getting involved and helping. So if you have that production interest, we've had, let's see, who did, Lucas Guerra did something for you. Aiden Doherty was involved in that project. So we've had students that have worked with NFL alumni to try to get the message out about what they do, NFL alumni. PR, how many of you are interested in PR here? Okay. Little bit? Okay. What do you think about PR?
Mainly, honestly, I'm open to anything. I've talked to you about that, so nothing necessarily, stands to reason, but always open to anything.
What is PR to you? What do you think PR is?
Mostly advertising. That's the first thing that comes to me when I think of PR, but public relations, social media.
All right. What is PR to you?
PR is kind of everything. So, I mean, to your point, it could be social media, it could be emailing, it could be email blasts out to everyone, it could be press releases, it could be calling on the media. Hey, I'm having a charity event at the Funplex in Mount Laurel, which we're going to try to do for kids in the community. Reaching out to Fox 29, reaching out to ABC and all those channels. I think like PR is marketing for sure, but it's like so many things, especially when you work in like a small organization. Just being able to engage local media, your local community, national community. Yeah.
So when you go to the Super Bowl, you work Radio Row. Explain to them what Radio Row is and what you do at Radio Row.
Sure. So those of you who don't know what Radio Row is, it's essentially every media outlet ever goes to the convention hall, whichever city you're in that year, and you have like your Fox Sports, you have Sports Illustrated, all these huge media outlets, and you also have like the small local ones. And basically, since all these former players are there and current players, they conduct interviews like during Super Bowl week, because essentially all sports people are in one location for a whole week. So what I do is NFL Alumni has its own table. We have a host, and I'll work with players' agents to come schedule, time at our table. Sometimes if a former player is working on a campaign and they want to get the campaign out, they'll come to the NFL Alumni table because they know we have a large social following and we'll post about it. And it's really great to collect that content that whole week, because Rob knows we're still posting about it today, because that content, it was during Super Bowl week, but that lasts us a whole year. So we'll push out like quick clips of Brian Dawkins saying this, Ed McCaffrey talking about like his son's playing in the NFL and like what that means to him. So you collect so much content, and also it's just like super chaotic. So players will just be like walking by and you'll grab their agent like, hey, can you stop by our table for just like 5-10 minutes? We'll just get like a quick interview. So you meet a lot of cool people. Joe Montana introduced himself to me like, hi, I'm Joe Montana, like, hi, I know who you are. So you meet like a lot of cool people. That is the one week that it is glamorous, but it's also like on a day-to-day basis, Joe Montana's not walking in the office door. But it's a really cool experience. If it's ever something you get to work in one day, I think you get so much experience within that 1 week, because there's events, there's Radio Row, you're meeting people, not even just like former players, but people you see on TV, like reporters and all that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty cool too.
Okay. Questions now for Emily. Who's got one? Let me go to Skylar. What was when you were there? What was it like this past summer?
It was really fun. I was there twice a week. Me and Riley were both occupied with phone calls, reaching out to players, doing Canva type stuff for the social media.
Is there a player that you spoke to that stood out that you went, oh, that's really cool?
Not that I was on the phone with. If there was, I got put on a voicemail.
Okay, all right. So you got voicemail. Okay, all right. I think the one thing you all have to think about, like where you want, if you want, can show of hands of those PR ones with PR. Who's show of hands PR? Who's interested in PR? Okay, there's a handful out here that are interested in PR. This is a chance now to figure out if this is an area you want to go in, or this is something that you think would be enjoyable. Would you say it's a stressful job? It is a, what is it, a time-consuming job? How would you classify PR?
Yeah, so PR doesn't sleep. If something happens like over the weekend, you kind of have to be on. Not that things are happening within our organization that are totally crazy, but say there's like a former player that passes away on a Saturday morning and we want to get out a statement about it on a Saturday morning. I'm working on that and like getting like the graphic up, and there hasn't been too many crazy ones recently, but PR definitely doesn't sleep. And if you are interested in like production or events or anything, I still think you should check out, like, you should try as much as you can now. Definitely take those unpaid gigs, those unpaid volunteer opportunities, because you never know who you're going to meet, especially at an event. I still meet people and network at events. I think that's super important. Like, if you come in as a PR intern and you come to a golf tournament and you meet, you know, a producer at NBC, you know, Philly, it's just about making those connections. So, I mean, Carrie Letizia, is that how you say her last name? Yeah, she came as a PR intern for us, and she's killing it in the production world and sideline and all that kind of stuff. So definitely get your feet wet and everything. We also do a lot of events too. If you're interested in events, that could be stressful. You know, just like getting it down to the wire. Last Super Bowl, we actually had an event where our location changed the week of. So we invited all these people, we sent out all these tickets, and our event company changed event locations like the day of. So just like scrambling late night, like trying to figure that out, make sure everyone has the updated information. So it has its ebbs and flows. It's not always super stressful, but there are definitely moments. I mean, any job could be stressful, right? Yeah, so even if you're not interested in PR, I say just like go to an event, get some experience. If it's not paid, you get paid in experience. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but it's seriously so true. I didn't even do my internship for college credit. I just did it for resume building, and it worked out.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. All right, go ahead.
So I feel like a lot of people hear PR and they think of, you know, the scrums people have, you know, the PR just told them to say that's a PR answer.
Mm-hmm.
How much of your job is with the alumni is actually giving them answers versus kind of leading them in the right direction?
Yeah, so there's not too many times specifically in my role where someone's going to reach out in regards to like a crisis. I did get a lot of media outlets reach out when Michael Orr from The Blind Side, like he came out and said like a lot of like that movie, like there was like misinterpretation. So a lot of people reached out regarding that, but I'm not Michael Orr's like rep or agent. So, but we could get in touch with those people. So like if a media outlet reaches out to me like regarding like a crisis situation, I can definitely get that media outlet in touch with the right person. And I think that's in my role at the alumni. I'm not necessarily maybe getting you in touch with that person, and I'm not their rep or their agent, but I can get that information and get it to them. So yeah, there's not too many times where I'm, you know, giving the actual answer, but that's a good question.
Okay, good, Mason.
How different is your day-to-day work during the NFL season versus the off-season?
That's a great question. So I actually was just telling someone in the summer, like off season, it's pretty like laid back. But a lot of our events and, you know, campaigns that we run are involved through the NFL season, even like social media stuff. So we're an alumni-based organization, so we're not active player, but if we're doing like a throwback Thursday, like, oh, this took place on this day, like that's going to take place during the actual NFL season. Or if a team has like a Ring of Honor ceremony, like someone getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, typically I stick to Eagles. I am an Eagles fan, but we are supposed to love all 32 teams. But just because the Eagles are local, I'll tend to go to those Hall of Fame inductions. So going and like getting content of the player, being down on the field, which is a cool experience. So like Hall of Fame inductions for teams, not the actual Hall of Fame events, on this day, posts, like our bulk of what goes on is during that football season. And then we do have like golf tournaments throughout the summer, but it is more laid back. Like it really starts to pick up like August to Super Bowl, and then after Super Bowl week, we can finally take a breath. But then there's draft, and then there's Hall of Fame induction, which we're becoming more involved in. So it definitely picks up way more during the actual NFL season, which makes sense.
All right, right here.
Is it hard, like, seeing, like, these players and, like, having to switch from, like, a fan perspective to, like, an employee perspective?
Definitely. So that's like one big thing working in the industry. Like when I first started, I was definitely starstruck at some people, but you do have to remain that like professional composure. But most of them are so nice. Like they're not, I haven't really met any players that, you know, like look down on you or anything like that, think that they're above you. So it's been easy to maintain those relationships, and working with so many of them, like now I'm pretty used to it, and just being able to form actual relationships with the players. It's less of like a starstruck and like, oh, that's like a friend. Like we had a former player come in today to pick something up, and it's like, oh, when are we going to go golfing? So it's become more of a like building like actual relationships. But yeah, you definitely do get starstruck sometimes.
So you told the story of Joe Montana.
Mm-hmm.
What's the coolest moment that you've experienced in your 4 years as NFL alumni?
Oh, that's such a good question. I've had so many.
Well, give me the top three then. What are the top three?
Okay. I mean, Brian Dawkins, I keep referencing him, but like he was a big one just because growing up an Eagles fan, like we always, you know, watched him, and my family was a big fan, and he's like the nicest guy ever. I know you had him at Round
we had
before,
him,
yeah. He's seriously such a nice guy. So being able to meet him, like, oh, that's your childhood hero, was pretty cool. And when I met him, I was kind of like helping his handler on Radio Row, so we kind of like walked with him all day, which was a cool experience. So I kept my composure until like the very end. His agent like let me take a picture with him. So that was cool. The Joe Montana introducing himself to me was just wild because like, yeah, I know who you are. And then what's another one? Honestly, I was starstruck by Erin Andrews. Being a woman in sports and just seeing her like on the sideline, like she honestly took my breath away. So she, that was pretty cool. Just like being down on like the sideline and like all the players coming out, and it was for an Eagles game. I was covering for their Hall of Fame induction, and being down on the sideline with like those people that like, again, like you grew up just like watching on TV was like a pretty surreal experience.
You see the women out here in the crowd now.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like to be a woman in this industry? And has it even changed since you've been in the industry?
Yeah, I think it's changed since I've been in the industry. My first thought is kind of like, oh, it's like super competitive. Like, you know, I don't want to try. But like anything in sports, right? Like sports is competitive. Like you really have to work at it. I don't think that the industry now like favors men over women. I think like everyone kind of has like an equal opportunity. I think if, you know, you're really good at your job and you go for it, it is a male dominant area. So like sometimes like you'll be on a call and you're with like a lot of men and you're like the only woman, but I've never felt like, not uncomfortable, that's not the word I want to use, but it is like sometimes you do realize that you're the only woman, but I think that's a cool thing, like, you know, going out there. And if I had to give advice to you women out there, it's not unachievable. Just because it's a male dominant industry doesn't mean you can't do it too. And I mean, look, like you go on TV, like we'll put on, you know, like Get Up or an NFL talk show in the morning, and there's women all over the TV. So I don't think that it's like as intimidating as it was. I think it's definitely changed in the last few years, which I think is awesome. But that's not also just discourage the men either. You know, you could do it too. It doesn't have to be women.
Riley, what did you think when you were there? Did you get a sense like, oh man, well, you had Emily there, you have Wilma's there. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
we
think.
actually
You
have a
have some
lot.
women.
We have a lot of women in our office, like our controller, our HR director, me, our new admin. So, how did you feel, Riley?
I mean, it's definitely nice. Like Emily's like very outspoken. I see the way she was like talking with other people, so that was cool to see her like almost like hold her own with others. So that's always like nice to see her just being.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think you needed like a thick skin. I think you need a thick skin, honestly, in any industry, not just sports, but you do need like a thick skin. And, you know, if people give you like constructive criticism, like don't be offended by it. I have, so my mentor, his name is Joe Brown, and he worked for the NFL for 50 years. Roger Goodell was actually his intern. And he, like, honestly, talk about NFL idol, like, that's my NFL idol, like, this PR guy. And he would really, like, when I came in to NFL alumni, I was, like, super timid, you know, because you're a woman, you're in sports, like, this is, you know, crazy. And he just would help me with like my editing and, you know, but he's also not going to sugarcoat it, you know. And I think that's kind of what you need in a mentor. Like, you don't want someone to like sugarcoat something. You want them to like help you with your editing skills and writing skills or PR skills. And he's really taught me, you know, with a voice. So is Beasley. I remember we did our first run through of presentations, and I had such a quiet voice, and like within a week he like completely changed me. I mean, he's the most, I mean, you know him. So if you guys look him up, especially if you want to be like broadcasting or production, he's in, like, he just captivates people. So he's also been a great mentor. And yeah.
So Beasley played for the New York Giants for a number of years, but went into broadcasting at the end of his career, and actually worked in Philadelphia for a number of years, was president of NFL Alumni Association, and then now he's retired, lives in Texas, plays golf all the time.
Plays golf all the time.
Was he in Atlanta?
He was, yeah.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
He was there to golf.
Okay, right here.
Has there been any particular NFL alumni that has given you like life-changing advice or has motivated you?
NFL alumni that gave you life-changing advice.
Life-changing
That's pretty
advice.
good.
That is
Has
good.
anyone done that?
Trying to think. That is a great question. So our old president, Bart Oates, he was a Giant, and he also, like, being an Eagles fan, you know, you're not supposed to like the Giants, but I have like this weird allegiance to them because of Bart. And I actually was him on Twitter. It wasn't Bart Oates. So anytime someone thought something was funny, it was actually me. It wasn't Bart. But I think he taught me, and I also want to give credit to Brad Edwards and our current COO, Ken Coffey. Like, our mission is, like, our main mission is like caring for kids and caring for our own. And I feel like they are the types of people who it's like, forget about the Super Bowl rings, forget about, you know, the NFL, like, take my title out. Like, it's kind of about like helping people and like really achieving the mission. Like, you can have all the Super Bowl rings in the world, right? But like at the end of the day, what makes like Ken and Brad and Bart and Beasley the most proud is when you can like help somebody in need. So I think that was pretty life-changing, because when you work for an organization like the NFL alumni, you think, oh, I'm, you know, talking with these former players every day, I'm talking with current players every day, and I'm going to these fancy events. But really at the end of the day, what matters was helping former players, helping the community, and helping kids, and that's my favorite event, is really helping the kids. And that's when we get to use the bigger name players to like come in, like Jaworski always comes in and helps out and gives out Christmas gifts for the kids in the community. So the glitz and the glam is great, but I think what matters most is helping, you know, your local community. So I think that was life-changing advice.
CEO now, as you mentioned him, is Brad Edwards. Won a Super Bowl with the Washington Commanders, putting it at Mason. Yes. Do you know the name Brad Edwards? You do? Okay. So won a Super Bowl, and he's now the CEO. He's done a really good job. He's been there like 3 years.
Yeah, it was actually both just our work anniversary. So he was 3 years, I was 4. Yeah, but he's, you know, done a great job, and he's kind of like the same way. Like you would never know. He like played football and had, I think he's like top 100 like Super Bowl plays ever. Like he's on, you can find him on YouTube. But like you would really never know that, and he really just wants to like help out the community and like really drive home our mission of, you know, caring for players. And you know, if a former player like one day calls in and like can't pay his rent, you know, our organization is kind of designed to be able to like help them out that month, or you know, kind of whatever they need. So yeah.
All right. Other questions? Right here.
I'm gonna ask you a really basic question. Everybody asks, what's your biggest piece of advice you give to somebody who sure wants to do what you do?
Sure. So that is a good question. And I always think like, oh, I wish I was told like when I was in your shoes is a lot has like changed, especially like getting a job. I think you need to like adapt to things. So like AI, right? There's like so much going on with AI. Like use that tool. And I think the job market's super hard, so I don't think like you should like get down on yourself because like, oh, I didn't get a job in sports, or oh, I didn't get an internship in sports, or you know, I'm getting rejection email after rejection email after that. Like you kind of have to keep going and keep going at it. Like it's like sports, right? Like if you don't practice, you're not going to play well. So I think you need to like practice your art. So if that's PR, if that's journalism, if that's production, if that's sideline, like take as many opportunities as you can. I mentioned it earlier, like take the unpaid gigs. Like if Neil reaches out and says, hey, they're looking for volunteers to go to a golf tournament, and like you think, oh, that's not going to help me in my career, like take those experiences, take, you know, all the classes and do all the events you can, do all the unpaid internships, because I think one day down the line you'll look back and be like, wow, like that was really worth it because I made this connection or I learned this. So I think that's just my biggest piece of advice. Do as much as you can now, because when you know you graduate, you want to be working and doing the paid opportunities. So take as much experience as you can get now. And Neil's seriously such a great resource. Like he knows everybody. So talk with him.
I know Emily Caniglia. You know. All right, in the back. Go
What's
ahead.
your advice for like sports marketing and majors? Because like you're marketing first, and like 'cause you know you do the PR, you do like advertising and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So just like a recommendation to those kind of people.
So I took like the global career accelerator. So like that was like a marketing class, and like I did that. So we had a market for like charity water and stuff.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I would say like again, like take the marketing experiences, even if it's like not involved in sports, because people like to see like, oh, you have marketing experience, and marketing can mean a lot, right? Because I feel like marketing is like a broad term, PR is like kind of a broad term. So as long as you're taking like volunteer opportunities or internships or even like the classes and saving your work and like making a portfolio out of it, like people like to see that, especially people who are interviewing, like, oh wow, they did, you know, even if it was in a class, like, okay, they did this in a class, or they have a really nice portfolio, just like working on projects and saving them to like show to people you're interviewing with one day, I would say.
In your job, I mean, you got your job because they got to know you during your internship. All right, they think very highly of Rob. Very highly of Rob. Rob's been there now. How many years you been there now? 2 years. 2 years. Okay, that's how you get a job. People ask all the time, like, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I'm just keep, you know, I hear from graduates. I haven't heard from anybody, but you have to cultivate these relationships and do a really good job. Then they'll bring you to Atlanta to work a tournament. Did you get paid for that?
Yep.
You got paid. Okay, he gets paid to go, and then he impresses the people. You did the same thing. What would you say to them about how you were able to create that? Yes, I know I helped you, but there's other ways you stood out.
Yeah.
That's why you got it. I mean, I helped you a little bit, but they had to say yes to you getting that job.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, like, personality is a big thing. I always say, not that this is personality related, but dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So if you're like a 2-day-a-week unpaid intern, like don't come dressed like one. Come dressed like you're the director of communications, and just be confident and be a really hard worker. Like be excited to learn. We don't want, you know, like anybody doesn't want an intern coming in like not, dressed appropriately, or they want to leave early, or they don't want to work on this, or they don't want to help. I think the biggest thing, like, come in super confident, be personable, talk to people, not even ask for, like, oh, do you need help with this? Like, I love to teach interns because, like, you're there to help us, but we're also there to help you, right? So, like, we want it to be a learning experience for both parties, especially, our unpaid interns. So, Rob and Skylar and Riley, like, they all stood out because, and Grady, you're here too, yes. And Grady, they all stood out because they really wanted to learn, and they wanted to help me, and I would hire any of them. Obviously, we hired Rob part-time, and he didn't even graduate yet, and we kind of had an opening, and we remembered Rob's work ethic, Rob's personality, so that's why we brought him back.
And the amazing thing is, he's a Cowboys fan. You guys overlooked that.
And it's insane. And I typically would not hire a Cowboys fan, but that's how we know that, Rob was a really hard worker, because we do. We don't really argue that much.
Grady, what was your experience like?
I mean, it was really fun. It was awesome. And it was just like a great experience to have, like, getting to talk to past players, cheerleaders, professionals on like a day-to-day basis, and just being able to like assist them with like anything they might need with their membership was just like really interesting, and it was just like it was a great way. Like, it was my first like position I really felt like experience, so it was just really like a great way to get experience and like start out there.
Why don't you share with them how we go about doing the interns with NFL alumni? I mean, we have a number with you, it seems like all the time. So
Yeah.
just kind of share a little bit of how we kind of go about that.
Yeah, so typically, Neil will recommend, one of you to me, and I'll get your resume, and sometimes you'll come in for an interview, sometimes we do it over Zoom, but, as long as we see that you have, like, some sort of experience, and you don't even necessarily, like, need a ton of experience, but if you're, like, excited to learn, and you're going to be, a hard worker, and, you've had, you did an event maybe, I mean, anyone that you have ever sent has been a rock star, but, we'll bring you on, like, 2 days, 3 days a week, kind of. What's nice about NFL alumni is, like, we're super flexible because we understand that you guys are students, right? And class is important, and homework's important. So, like, if there's an exam one day and you need to, like, switch up your days, totally fine. But we are an in-person internship just because it's a lot easier for me to, like, walk out to Riley's desk and be like, hey, can you work on this? And, explain it. So, once we do, like, an interview, you'll come in. It's usually, like, 3 months, I would say, like, usually just, like, a semester. There are a lot more opportunity during the NFL season, kind of like what I was saying earlier. There's more to do, like, event-wise and campaign-wise, social media. So you kind of, like, get to put your hands in everything, which is what I like about our organization, our internship. So usually we'll have our interns work on, like, social media, but, like, if our accountant needs something one day and, you can help out, that's great. If our event person needs something one day, like, we need you to call and, like, confirm, or we need you to reach out to this player and see if he'll update his expired membership. Like, you're not just, like, coming in and working on social media. Like, we try to get you involved in, like, as many departments as we can, just because, like, I was in your shoes, like, 5 years ago. So I know what it's like. And if you can put on your resume that you did membership, PR, social media at this age and this point in your careers and lives, like, I think that's a pretty cool opportunity.
That's why I like bringing somebody back like Emily, because, as she mentioned, she's just a handful of years from being in your shoes. Mm-hmm. And I hope that you can relate to her story and her experiences that will help you. Yes, we bring in people that have been here, and, we have Todd Schmidt. Was Todd Schmidt last week, or was that 2 weeks ago? No, that was 2 weeks ago. Last week we had, Dave. So we had a writer last week. So, but, trying to give them an experience of what it's like early in your career, and different careers, and being in PR. All right, other questions for Emily, who's got one in the back. Go ahead, Riley.
Yeah, so I always, like, growing up in a sports household, I really wanted to go into sports. I kind of realized, like, early in my college career, I wanted to do PR, but I wasn't, like, super set on sports just because I said earlier, I knew it was competitive. But, you know, once I came to Rowan and these opportunities kind of were, like, more available than I thought, I was really excited to be able to. Sorry, I'm laughing. I was excited to take on this. I think, like, especially after my internship with NFL alumni, made me really want to go into sports because, like I said, like, I worked at the PR agency and, like, wasn't obsessed with the clients that were there. It was still really a great experience, but I think I wanted to do the PR in sports. So, like, reaching out to the media, like, if we have, like, a former player that, like, is trying to get interviews regarding, like, a campaign that they're doing, that was, like, something that interests me. And NFL alumni specifically, since it was, like, a nonprofit and it was about helping people, really interests me. So the fact that I got that plus the sports, I think it was just kind of a no-brainer for me. But yeah, we get a lot of people too. Like, you interview and it's like, okay, why do you want to work for NFL alumni, or why do you want to work for the Eagles, or whoever it is? And it's like, oh, I love sports. It's like, okay, well, you need, like, something else besides that, right? Because everybody wants to work in sports. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people want to work in sports, right? So you kind of need to find that, like, thing that, like, sets you apart from everybody else. Because if a job application, you know, comes up for the Eagles, like, you're going to get thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes, right? So it's like, what about you is going to set you apart from all those other people that like sports? So you kind of have to figure that out, right? If it's community relations, like, you really like to help people, or if it's sideline reporting, like, what made you want to go into that? So I think just being able to differentiate yourself from all the other applications is also something to think about.
That NFL alumni logo,
Mm-hmm.
that shield, that's a powerful brand, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. Mm-hmm.
How do you try to maximize that brand to the best of what you're trying to accomplish, whatever it might be, for a charity, for individuals, for an organization? How do you try to maximize that shield?
Yeah, so I mean, the NFL shield, ours is, like, a little different than the original one, obviously, but that shield is super powerful. It's, like, one of the biggest brands in the world. So again, like, our goal at the end of the day is trying to raise money for, like, these other nonprofits or kids in the community or our former players. So it's like, you kind of want to reach out to those larger corporations, like, hey, we're having an event, you know, sponsor our event. You get to golf with Bart Oates, you get to golf with Brad Edwards. So being able to market it, like, hey, don't you want to be involved with NFL alumni? You get to do all these great things, but if we get their sponsorship and their benefit, we're being able to benefit the community. So having that shield and having NFL, I think, is a real draw to a lot of people, a lot of local businesses, a lot of national businesses. So they want to be involved with us. They want to be involved with NFL alumni, whether it's a benefit to our players, information, you know, to our database. But we really want to cultivate those relationships to create sponsorship so then we can, you know, support the community.
Who would like to intern at NFL alumni?
I hope everybody raises their hands.
There's a lot of hands that went up right there. Let's see. Why do you want to be why NFL alumni? Yep. Why NFL alumni?
I just like what you were talking about with organization people. I think that's a great opportunity to come out of my shell. I'm a bit shy at times myself, so I think it's a great opportunity to talk to people and build up my communication skills.
Yeah, that's great. And it's definitely something that'll help you, like, break out of your shell. So one quick Super Bowl Radio Row story. We were on Radio Row and we have a host. And he calls me the day of and he says, I lost my media credential. And I'm like, what do you mean you lost your media credential? We have our first interview in 10 minutes. So I'm on the phone with the league, right? And I'm begging them, like, but they're not doing reprints. Like, this is top level security, like, credentials. Like, it is no joke. Like, everything's facial recognition. Like, he can't get in unless he finds his credential that was printed already, right? So who has to do the interview? I do. Who's the first interview? The head doctor of the National Football League coming to talk about player safety. So a few years ago, I would have been like, no, I'm not doing it. But at that moment, I had all this experience of breaking out of my shell and talking to former players that I sat down with the head doctor and we had a great conversation and it was a great interview. So I think being able to break out of your shell, like you said, like you're shy, like I was super, in this kind of setting, I was super timid. I think I have a big personality, but in the sports industry, I was pretty shy. But being like, getting up in front of 30 former players, chapter presidents, and explaining what you do on a day-to-day basis, like that, breaks you out of your shell. So I think that's a great answer.
Yeah. So
and let's connect.
There you go. I that's a great story
Mm-hmm.
because you really have to get out of your, come out of your shell for that.
Mm-hmm. On camera.
Did he find his credential?
He did. So he found his credential. I did about like 3 interviews. And when he came back, I was like, you know what? I don't even need you. Let me do these interviews. Maybe I have a career in journalism.
All right. Who else said they want to intern NFL alumni? You want to intern NFL alumni, Sean?
Yeah, because my knowledge.
Because your knowledge? All right. You want to talk to a bunch of former Giants, right?
No, anybody.
Anybody?
We have plenty of Giants.
All right.
We got plenty.
Yeah. You want to work NFL alumni?
Yeah, because I'm like, I just have a lot of experience like marketing. I bring like the marketing experience. I took a digital marketing class over the summer. Like I can market like these events. I follow in a lot of these like big. I'm like a big sports guy. Like every game, I'm a big sports guy. I follow in. I mean, I'm very like versatile person. Like I can get that experience. Like I have production experience with the camera training. I'm trying to get marketing experience as well with the digital marketing class. And also I've met like former athletes in the past. I can interview like former athletes and stuff.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, being versatile is a huge thing, especially at this age. So that if you're like, can do a lot of things, that's great to have an NFL alumni because we are a small staff.
What is the staff size?
It's about 10 employees, which you wouldn't think, but there's only 10 of us. So that's why, like, I have so much experience packed into my short career because I had to do interviews, I had to do events, I had to do player engagement, like you name it, I've probably done it. So.
Okay. Other questions for Emily? What do we have? Hi, Rasmus.
So, since you've been at NFL Alumni Association, what is like a project or like something you've worked on that like you most proud of? What's like your top project that you ever done?
That's a great question. And I don't think you'll think it's as glamorous, but we throw a Christmas party for kids in foster care every year. And they send us like a wish list and we go out, we'll do the fundraising first, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. Like we market to former players, former executives, all that kind of stuff. Anybody could donate really. So we'll market that and then, we'll do emails about like former events where we helped out. But I was most proud of it because these kids send in their wish lists. We get the former players. And to me, like, I'm used to the former players, whatever. And we have these kids come in and they're not expecting it, but they have 3 gifts that they had on their wish list. And, meeting Ron Jaworski or meeting Mike Quick, who's there to hand out the gifts and like to see their faces and to get their reactions is just like the best experience ever. Like, again, like forget like the Super Bowls and all that. Like that was the best thing. One year we teamed up with Jaws's organization, Jaws Youth Playbook. They gave us 75 tickets for preseason game, and we threw like a big tailgate for kids in the community, like a lot of foster kids, a lot of group home kids, and they got to go into the Eagles game, which they probably would have, never done in their childhood at least. And being able to do that and to bring the former players and to bring them into an Eagles game and just to see their faces and to see how grateful they are, that is probably the most proud I've been in my career. So that's pretty cool. And that's why I really love my job because, yes, I get to work in sports. Yes, I get to go to the Super Bowl. I did go to the game when they won, the Eagles. Yes, I get to do all those things, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, like helping out people who really need it, you get the best of both worlds. So
we have a class, event planning class. Where's Lindsay Massiangelo? She's still, she's here? She left? She left, okay. So Lindsay Massiangelo and Emily are going to work together on, is there anybody here in Lindsay's event planning class? Riley is. Anybody else? Okay, Riley's in it.
Okay.
So we have an opportunity where we'll be sending people to the Super Bowl. We sent 7 people to the Super Bowl last year. Rob was one of them who went to the Super Bowl. Anybody else in this room went to the Super Bowl? Grady did. Grady went as well.
Grady was there.
Yeah, Grady was there. Who else? Chris. Oh yeah, Christina. No, she. You went. She went to the NFL in LA. Yeah, so we sent 7 to the Super Bowl from a one class. Now we have 2 sections: Alex Hill's class and Lindsay Masciangelo's class. The opportunity to be able to go and first of all prepare for the event,
Mm-hmm.
and then to go and actually work the event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you can do better than that in a class environment.
No, and the amount of experience you can get in just that week alone, like, is unreal. Like, the events that are going on, the people you're going to meet, the networking that goes on. I think it's like, seriously, it's such an amazing opportunity. And if you have the chance to take that class, I think take it. You guys have built like an amazing program here, and I don't think people realize, like, going to the Super Bowl, like, if you could put that on your resume, like, people will snatch you for a job.
What was it like, Rob? What was that Super Bowl week like?
Oh, it's incredible. It's so fulfilling to plan something like here and then fly somewhere, work the event, see it unfold. And then you're sitting there afterwards, hundreds of people just came and you're like, wow, like, I just did that, like, I was the reason that just happened.
It was a pretty good week too because the Eagles are there.
Yeah.
You're a Cowboy. Are you an Eagle fan?
We
You're
never get Eagles
He's a Panther fan.
I know.
My goodness. What was that like? What was the week like for you, Grady?
So yeah, going off what Rob said, it was really like cool and interesting to just see it all kind of built up from the start, from like initial just like unboxing everything, and then like setting up the venue and like that working venue itself, and like meeting everyone that was there, and just being a part of like that event. That went great. It was great. Perfect.
There were a number of Hall of Famers that were there. There was like close to 1,000 people attend that event.
There were a lot of people.
Now we have 2 events. So Gridiron Greats is Mike Ditka / Brian Urlacher's Chicago organization that we partnered with. Ron Jaworski's Youth Partnership is not doing the party, the Cigar with the Stars. They used to partner with Ditka's organization. Now it's just the Ditka organization. But we're still doing that. We're going to that party. We're going to work with NFL alumni and their event that's out there. Radio Row as well. So different events that we give our students an experience to be able to go to the Super Bowl and work it. So if you have not, and then for those, that's for the fall class. For those in the spring class, there's golf events that you work. Ron Jaworski's golf event and also NFL alumni's event. So they have golf events as well. So we'll work with those professors. We'll work with these these organizations for the spring events for that class. Your overall experience here at Rowan, like pretty good experience?
It was a great experience. I was, driving around here. I got so nostalgic. I was sending pictures to my old roommates, and I mean, it was really such a great experience. And I've really watched the program grow since I graduated. And you guys, you're in an amazing program, and seriously, just take advantage of all the opportunities you can now. Like I said, while you're in school. My experience at Rowan was awesome. I had a really pleasant one. And the opportunities I got here obviously led me to a full-time job, which I love. So, again, take as many things as you can do now. It's so important.
And I want to emphasize again to the women, because we're really proud of the fact that we're getting more and more women in sports. The NFL at Park Avenue, New York, had 50 interns this year. 38 of them were women.
Yeah, that's crazy.
38 were women.
That's awesome.
So if you don't think there's chance for women, and I'm looking at the women out here, if you don't think there's chances for women in sports, think again.
Yeah.
Do you? And you even said it earlier, you're seeing it more and more.
I'm seeing it way more. Like, even from when I started, like, here full-time, like, 4 years ago, I've watched it grow in the last 4 years. Like, it really has. Even, like, Radio Row, like, it's women, like, all, like, being the handlers, the agents, the people conducting the interviews. Like, it's a lot of women. So women are taking over sports. So be confident.
Any questions now? Any more questions for, right here, Keegan?
So we've spoken a lot about the NFL Alumni Association, but you seem like you're doing very well. You're actually thriving in your position. And I was wondering if in a couple of years you see your career going in a different direction, and if so, which
where would you like it to go?
Yeah, that's another great question. So I love working in sports, but it also, I'm also open to other things, right? Like it doesn't have to be for a team. It doesn't have to be for NFL alumni. I've really enjoyed helping people in my career. So if it involves that, like I'm all for it. Personal growth is also something really important to me. Like you don't want to stay in an organization where you feel like trapped or you feel like you're not learning anymore. You've reached your capacity. So if that next step doesn't involve sports, like that's okay. I really do like the PR aspect and working with the media and the news and all of that kind of thing. So as long as I'm doing what I'm doing now, so like the PR thing, but also that level of helping people, it doesn't necessarily have to be in sports. I wouldn't mind going somewhere else and then coming back to sports. But I really enjoy like the NFL specifically. It's just something that I know really well. I'm really interested in. I'm really passionate about. So, yeah, I think one day if I don't work in sports, that's okay.
Dominic Gaspari, he went to work for the Broncos.
He went to work for the Denver Broncos. Yeah, he actually they had their 50-year, or not, it was Super Bowl 50 anniversary reunion, and he ran that whole event. So if you saw that on social media or anything, and they had a great game.
They did.
Sorry, Giants.
Some Giant fans out
Sorry.
there. So, yeah, I mean, look, again, when you get a chance to work or intern at a place like this, and the students that we've highlighted here today that have had a chance to work with NFL alumni, that shield is going to be very valuable as you go and look for jobs elsewhere.
We've had people go, so like Neil said, Denver Broncos. We've had people go to the Eagles. Kyle Hoos went to the Commanders.
He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
A Rowan grad.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Rowan grads who interned at NFL alumni and then eventually went on to like a team or club or league office. So it's a really great starting point. You get a lot of experience, and yeah.
So, look, I just think right now it's great to hear from someone like Emily, who's recently graduated from Rowan. Again, a 2020 graduate. Congratulations on your graduation. Thank you for being here today.